Hello everyone, welcome to the tutorial number 9 on the TBRPG series. Today we are going to be having a lot of fun doing something kind of complex. We are going to be having a visual terrain editor for our little game here. So let's start. First, I'm going to go to my source code and create a new script. Terrain editor window. Okay, open it up. So here we're going to be using Unity editor. This is going to be a window, and this is going to have a terrain atlas script attached to it. Okay, we are going to be making a constructor for this window that takes a terrain atlas. Okay, let's do that. Then we want to have an ongi. For example, let's make something like G layout level. This is just to have some understanding of how this works. Okay. So with this we have made a window that uses our terrain atlas. Then we need to go to our terrain atlas script right here. Here we are going to have another class. So this class is going to inherit from editor, from the default Unity editor. So doing this we can have change this view right here. Okay, so here we have a custom editor for our terrain atlas. Okay, and then here we are going to be overriding our on inspector GUI. So first we are going to go to here and draw the default inspector. Okay, so we have the same information, but then we are going to be adding a button. To do that, just use if GUI.button. So if GUI layout button, here we have a text, open window editor. Okay, so if we click the button, we are going to be executing the code that is under here. So we are going to be creating a new editor window. Sorry, window editor, terrain editor window, and here we're going to have a terrain atlas. Whenever we use the on inspector GUI, we have a target that's mono behavior, which is the actual mono behavior that it's so if we have here the terrain atlas script, that's the target. Okay, so just use that target as a terrain atlas and show that window. Okay, Let's check it out. Just click on the terrain atlas, and here we have open terrain editor. Click on this, and we have our window. We has a label called terrain. Okay, we can set our window wherever we want, for example like there. So we are going to be changing that window to accommodate our needs, because changing these options right here, it's quite a mess. So here on our window, we're going to have on the left side the actual how do you call it, the terrain, and on the right side the tile set, so we can change between them and so on. So we are going to be using GUI layout to make our scene, if you want to call it like that, for the window. So GUI layout dot begin scroll view. It asks us for a scroll position, which we need to store like this. Okay, scroll position and a GUI style, or other things that we are not changing right now. Okay, then we need to end that scroll view. Okay, so whenever we have something in this scroll view, like another GUI layout, for example a box, or let me make, can I have a text toolbar. I wanted to have something that you could see. No, what's that? Okay, never mind. I was just messing with things. So here we're going to have our full terrain. So okay, so we have all our terrain. Also we want to have the index. Okay, the index is calculated like this. Plus x. Okay, this is the index for a two-dimensional array. Okay, because we have x and y, but in the brain atlas we are only using a one-dimensional array, so that's how you change from one to the other. So let's start. So for each one, we are for each cell we are going to be having a button. Okay, so let's check how that works. If Unity wants to, okay, I think Unity stopped working. Okay, never mind. Let's keep making things here. So each button is going to have a size. We might want to set the size to, for example, 32 pixels. if we wanted to have the exact amount, so we will be having the texture or the typeset. How did they call this? Okay, I don't have the texture there, so bummer. Let me restart Unity. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Okay, Unity doesn't want to work, but that's okay. I'm going to be setting the width and height because it might help Unity know what it's doing itself. I'm not sure it worked before I started making a tutorial, but you can never be sure about some code that someone else has written, so okay, let me comment that. Okay, let's see if I don't know what's happening here. It should work, unless did I make that mistake? Yes, I did. Okay, I'm stupid, it seems. So please check your force. Your for loops. Okay. Okay, as you can see, we have 9 buttons here. Okay, and if we had this to be smaller, we also have a scroll bar here. So that's what we wanted. So let's make some things here. So first, I don't want these buttons to be like that. We want to have the actual texture. So I'm going to have a list of textures. Okay, so let's make that. Then let's make terrain atlas curl atlas rows. Let's not make that same mistake again. X atlas columns. Okay, so we need the actual texture. which is going to be let's make that for texture terrain atlas dot renderer. It's deprecated, so get component mesh renderer shared material main texture. Okay, as texture 2D. Okay, we have our textures. So texture 2D tile texture equals new texture 2D. Let's make tile width and tile height. Tile width is going to be equal to the full texture width divided by the atlas columns, and tile height will be full texture dot height divided by terrain atlas dot atlas rows. Okay, a new texture tile width tile height. Okay, so in that texture we are going to set pixels from the full texture, get pixels, okay, x times tile width, then the y coordinate, y times tile height, and the width and the height. Apply that texture and add to our list, which is tile textures. Okay, we don't have every single one of our textures here, so we can use that texture in our buttons. Okay, so let Unity load for a bit. Okay, we need to reopen the window, or rather reopen Unity again, because we changed the constructor. So let's do it one more time. Open terrain window. Okay, so what happens here? Terrain is not readable. Okay, we need to make our texture readable. So let's go to our texture, our terrain texture, and just here we make our texture readable. Okay, apply those changes, go to our terrain, close this window, open a new terrain window. Can't I close them? Argument is out of range. Of course, it's out of range. Okay, so here we need to use the tile type, not the actual index. Can't I close it? let me make something fast to close this one. Please close. Thank you. Let's try again. Clear our log, open the Trainator. Unsupported texture format. Okay, needs to be one of those. Okay, so let's make it RGBA. Cool. So apply that. Yay! So we have here our Terrainator. Here we have a button with every one of our tiles. But that's not the way we want it to work, so let's change some things here. So if we check here our parameters, first we have a GIS style, but can we make perfect selection grid? Okay, so this is how it works with buttons, but we are going to be using a selection grid because it might be better. Trust me. Selection layout selection grid. Okay, the selected one is going to be -1, for example. Then we have a textures here and there. So let's keep this here. So texture 2D array, tile map equals a new texture 2D okay. So we make a new tile map out of the width and height of the atlas. So for each here, for each tile, we take from that index and add the new textures to the tile type. Okay, I'm going to be putting this here, create tile map. Here displaying tile map. Here we're going to have a GUI layout, selection grid. Selected would be minus, let's say, okay, there we go. Tile map. The X count is going to be the terrain atlas dot width. And doing this, we'll have something more like this. Okay, as you can see, it's now kind of the same way as the one on the right, but it's inverted, the y coordinate. So let's change that real fast. So switch, please. Can we switch index out of range? What? I'm doing something wrong here. let's do something like oops, again those false. Okay. Okay, I'm stupid. The thing that's bad here is the index. I have to change this index here. I feel like I'm making something very stupid here and I'm not getting it. Okay. Doesn't matter, let's continue. So here we're going to have the tile map, but we want these tiles to be the same size as the actual thing right there. So key layout dot width, tile width, key layout dot height, tile height. Okay, so doing this we will change the size. Okay, we have to multiply that by the amount of tiles we have times okay. So we have our tiles there. Our tiles in the program are very small, so it's okay if we have something like that. Let me change the selection grid to -1 so no one is selected at first. Can you make that? Okay, perfect. And then if we wanted to make it don't look like a button, this tile dot none. So okay, as you can see, something like this is actually more correct. Okay, here our tile size is too big for what it should, but okay. So if we wanted to have something like, let's say 20 by 20, again open the terrain editor, we need to change this size to, okay, should I make something like if something goes wrong, just close yourself, please. Okay, here we have our Terrenator. Thing that I wanted to show you is if we actually made it smaller, we will have this slider right here. So also that's right there. Why isn't this working? I don't close it. Okay, so then we need to add our display tile set. Okay, we are making a layout selection grid. Can I make like an area of some sorts? Because I want it to be since I want it to be here we have the type textures and terrain atlas dot atlas curves. So this has to be an array, so to array. Okay, so we should have in an editor window begin horizontal our tileset here. Okay, again we want our tileset to be without any style, so let's make that a thing. Okay, style doom. Okay, so what we're going to be making here is storing in an integer chosen tile. Okay, so here we have the chosen tile, and whenever we change chosen tile, it's going to be displayed right there. Okay, and then finally in tile to change equal to the selection grid. So finally, if tile to change is greater than greater or equal than 0, we are going to go to our terrain atlas tiles, tile to change equals to the chosen tile, and we generate the mesh. We can, for example, make the generate mesh like a public thing here, and just generate a mesh. So let's try this. I'm going to click that, click on the grass and add grass right here, and the grass is put in the game or the scene if we prefer to see the scene. The only problem that we have is that it's actually inverted, but we can be changing our tiles more easily. Okay, again we have the same things that are also working, so our player can move, still collide with the water that we have put right there, and so on. The only thing that I want to be making is to actually inverting that thing right there. So the problem is the index. So alternate y is going to be equals to the terrain atlas height minus y, alternate y, so let's check that. Okay, so OnGui did not finish correctly, so I'm going to restart Unity again. Let's try again. Open our terrain editor. Okay, it's actually probably making this because that might be quite a failure right there. So I don't know what I'm making wrong right here. Because I'm changing the Y, but I don't know why it isn't working. So let me have a quick look. Oops. Terrain atlas minus 1 minus y. Y minus terrain atlas minus 1. Doesn't make sense, but as I thought. So what's okay, I just need to change this index here. Oh, okay. Let's have different index there. Clear that. Open. Okay. Now it's okay. So let's try that. Okay. It's inverted on the Y. So let's on the type to change. Int x type to change divided by terrain atlas dot width. So it's module y dot height minus y minus 1 int new index y times dot width plus x. This is because the 3D model is rendered from the y0 being on the bottom and the 2D's the y is on the top side. So hopefully this should be corrected. Okay. So we now have a Qt terrain editor, which doesn't need us to be having a lot of trouble. This one is much easier to work with. Also, we can change the size right here. Which is much cuter. Also like that. So this is how this should work. It took me a while with those indexes, but there you have a working terrain editor that you can use, much simpler than the array we have here. Okay, then if we want to change the terrain to be not showing, we just can, for example, go to our tiles, make something like that, and so on. But I'm going to be leaving them public because we all make mistakes, so it's easier to correct them. Other than that, thanks for watching today's tutorial, even though it's been painful, at least for me. Hope it has been more fun to you. Share this video to the people who might be interested. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And other than that, have a good day. Bye.